Hey guys, so this is the box for my 1080 Ti, my Asus Strix OC edition. And the card itself is underneath the table in a PC doing what a graphics card does best. It's spinning away there. Now, if you watch my channel, you'll know that I recently built a new PC. It's a 5950X build with a 1390, and that's a fantastic PC, but it's not really going to replace the PC that this card was in, because I'm moving towards a dual PC setup. And there's a lot of situations when you're a YouTuber where that comes in, that comes in really useful. It's not just for recording games. There's lots of videos I've got planned where, for example, I'll be doing benchmarking and, overclocking and different things where the CPU here is 100%. And that's where it becomes handy to have a second PC to actually do the recording. So it makes sense for me to have two PCs, which is why I'm going to keep two PCs. But I'm not keeping this card. About an hour ago, I sold this card on eBay, and in my opinion, I've kind of sold it for a ridiculous price, certainly when compared to prices over the last year. Now, I'm sure you're aware how I've sold this, why I've sold this. There is a GPU shortage right now, and graphics cards are going for crazy prices. Now, you can lay blame on this on the pandemic, on NVIDIA, on AMD, on cryptocurrency or cryptocurrency miners, but the situation is that there is a shortage and it's very difficult for people to get cards. So I wouldn't recommend anyone paying more than recommended retail price, but people are doing that. And you can see my card is being sold here for the best part of £500. Now, what I did was I went onto eBay and I thought, you know what, I'll just list it for a silly price. And if someone buys it, fine. If they don't, I don't care. I'll wait 3 months, I'll wait 4 months, and I'll sell it and I'll buy the card that I want to put into the second PC, the streaming PC. But I managed to sell it here for £515 plus £15 postage and packaging. Now, the issue of value is not really for me to determine. Could be a miner that's bought this, it could be a gamer. The 1080 Ti is still a fantastic card, but it's certainly being sold at a higher price than it has been sold over the last year. Now, I'm sure some people might think I'm ripping someone off, but I'm not really ripping anyone off because I need to buy a graphics card myself. And I'm now in a situation where there's no 3060 Ti's, there's a few 3070s, there's a few 6800s, there's zero 3080s, and 3090s, let's be honest, they're overpriced even if they are recommended retail price. And I got my pants pulled down when I bought that one. But yeah, it's a situation that we're in right now. And I thought about it for a while, and I didn't want to buy a new graphics card right now because of what's going on. But when I saw the prices that people were paying for a card like this, I thought, why not just sell it and put the funds towards a newer card? And that's what I'm going to do. So I'll take the 1080 Ti out in a second. I'll take out the PC and I'll show you. I guess it's a trip down memory lane, but let's have a quick look at the box. So this is the 1080 Ti, the Asus Strix. I had a few of these, and I had them actually in a dual 1080 Ti setup a few years ago, 3 years ago or so. And I paid about £800 for one, about nearly £1,000 for the other. And again, that was during a cryptocurrency mining boom, and I paid over the odds. I think I paid about £250 over retail. So if anyone's getting their pants pulled down, it was me 3 years ago, and I'm just kind of getting some of that money back. But yeah, this card has been fantastic. It's been absolutely fantastic. No problems with it, never overheated, no problems with the fans. It's just performed well. And certainly when it comes to using a graphics card, you could say I am a power user because I have used this every single day for 3 years. And I've never had any issues, and I have no doubt that that will run well for another 3 years. But let's take out the PC, we'll have a look at it, and it'll be interesting to see what the card looks like. It's been sitting in that PC for a long time. So as you can see, the 1080 Ti is now out of the system. But what does it look like? What does a 1080 Ti look like after 3 years? Well, this is it. And I had a look at this the other day. Before I listed it, I decided to have a look at it, and I did notice all the dust, but that's a non-issue. I can resolve that with the spray duster, etc. Just give that a scoosh. I'll get rid of that and I'll wipe it down. I think this is in excellent condition. And, there's not really any marks in it or anything like that. But that really is because of this card itself. It was always made well. It's always built well. made with good materials, etc. And it was one of the most expensive cards at the time, but in hindsight, I'm glad I paid a little bit extra because I did get a card that I used all the time. I did get one that had good cooling, good overclocking potential. And, you know, when you're looking at graphics cards, there is a tendency to try and cheap out a little bit and get the cheapest 3070 or cheapest 3080 they can get. But if you're going to be keeping a card for 2 or 3 years, there is a good argument for paying a little bit more to get a graphics card that's got better cooling, etc. But I think it's in good condition. One of the things that really did surprise me about it is the size. When I first handled this and when I bought it 3 years ago, I couldn't believe how big it was because it was one of the biggest graphics cards that you could buy 3 years ago. But now most 30 series cards are 2.5, 2.7, 2.93 PCI Express slots. This was only 2, which is how I could put 2 of these in the system. And after handling the 3090 last week and, you know, including it in the build and working with it, it's amazing how much lighter and smaller this is. I mean, it's still heavy. It's still about 1.2 kilograms or so, but it's a lot lighter than the 3090 and it's a lot smaller as well. I do kind of miss 2X cards, you know, cards that don't take up 3 slots. It makes things a little bit easier as far as using the X8 slot, etc. on your motherboard. But yes, I do need to clean it up. Yes, I do need to clean up that dust, etc. But I think it's in quite good condition. So it's quite interesting seeing this. Before I package it up, it's interesting seeing it. And I think it's interesting, this whole situation that we're in with a graphics card shortage. Certainly, if you have a graphics card right now, you might want to think about upgrading. It could be a good time to sell. Now, it depends on what you're willing to do. The way that I've been looking at it, I didn't want to pay over the retail price. I wanted to buy it from a shop. Other people just want to get a graphics card right now and they're happy to pay an extra 50, 100 or even more. But if you're willing to spend a ridiculous amount of time in Discord groups and looking at Stock Informer websites that tell you when graphics cards are coming into stock, and you're willing to check your phone a lot, it is extremely frustrating. It is extremely time consuming. But if you're willing to do that, you should be able to pick up a graphics card at one point or another over the next month. And if you can do that, then you might be able to swap something like a 1080 Ti for a 6800 or 3070 or 3080 for just a few hundred more. And you're getting a newer card, a more powerful card. I'm actually selling my Alienware gaming laptop as well, but that's not really about the current situation. I mean, I guess it helps itself that it's got a 2080 in this. It will help it sell. You know, it's got a 2080 is pretty respectable and you know, it's a really good gaming laptop. But the main reason I'm selling that is basically I bought this thinking I would use it all the time when traveling, and I've been at home for a year because of the pandemic. So I'm not using it. It's kind of gathering dust, time to sell, and I'll review my options in 6 months or so. But I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. I paid 200, 300 more than I should have when I bought this. I kind of got 150 of that back, really. I mean, I think a fair price for this would have been about 400, perhaps even 350 under normal circumstances. But these are not normal circumstances, and any profits I made from this, they could be lost when I go and buy a graphics card, because it's not just scalpers on eBay or people like myself, you know, people that have got a card that are selling graphics cards for more than perhaps what they're worth. We're also seeing retailers doing it as well. So we're seeing a lot of shops add a few hundred to recommended retail prices. And we're seeing they're being quite fly as well. Like they're putting them into PC builds that are way overpriced and people will buy them simply because they can't get a GPU. But if you've got a graphics card, I'd love to hear from you guys. It could be a very good time to sell your graphics card, especially if you're willing to wait a month or two until you get your next one. Just wait with your finger on the button. But thanks for watching, guys. We'll keep you updated with what I get. I am going to keep my eyes out for another card for my other PC, which could end up being the gaming PC. But thanks for watching. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, and I'll speak to you all in the next one. Take care.